Alright, Aries, I'm going to do your reading for, your love reading actually for March 2022. Now keep in mind this won't necessarily be a romantic love reading. This could just be love in general in your life. It could be, kids, family, whatever. Also, I'm going to use 3 different decks. 2 of them is for more romantic love. And this one can be for, a general and also romantic as well. Alright, so what does Aries need to know for March 22 in regards to love? What does Aries need to know in regards to love for March 2022? What does Aries need to know, Spirit, for March 2022? Also, I want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe. And I do have a website up now. It's not completely finished, but if you do want to book readings with me, that is available on the website. And I'll list it in the description box. What does Aries need to know for love for March 2022? Aries love for March 2022. Aries love for March 2022. Well done reward. Aries love for March 2022. That one wanted to come and say. Darkest fears, strengthening bonds. What does Aries need to know for love March 2022? Also keep in mind that this is not going to relate to every one of the Aries because there are so many. That's why there's so many different readers. Each of us have different gifts and we zero in on different types of frequencies and energies. So just take whatever resonates and don't try to make anything fit that doesn't. Just whatever feels right. What does Aries need to know for love March 2022? Seeing that pop out, right? Opportunity beckons. And balance. So the way I'm going to read these cards for you, I'm going to read intuitively first, and then I will consult the book for any additional messages. And I'll do this deck first, and then I'll cycle through the other ones. So, well-deserved reward. So, with this card, we see a man basically sitting on like some almost like a mountain of cubes in a way. And it represents a 9, so that can also represent like wish fulfilling, like the 9 of Cups in traditional tarot. So we see this person is basically standing out, amongst everybody, proud of himself. They know in themselves that they deserve the reward that they, for all the work and the effort that they put out. So that could be in a relationship that you're dealing with. Mainly what I'm getting is a lot of it has to do with your jobs and relationships, like you're proud of that. Some of it could be family, like you're proud of the family that you've created. But basically everything is coming to you now. And if it hasn't, it's coming. So, basically I deal with more present energy, but also, past and future. But the future can be many, many different possibilities and probabilities. So the fact that the card is red, so it deals with basically the physicality, the physical self. So these could be rewards coming to you in the physical world. Like I said before, keep in mind that you also want to check this is basically a sun sign reading, but it governs the ascendant sign and the moon sign. So, most people, it's what they go by, the sun sign in astrology, because they're, not aware that there's a lot of different signs. And, if you really need to know more about yourself, you need to do a natal birth chart, which I offer them too, and that tells you everything about yourself. Alright, so that's what I get with that card. And Darkest Fears. So, with the Darkest Fears card, it's basically saying that, I'm getting 2 different messages. Basically, Darkest Fears is basically saying, it could be saying, like, if you're reading it with this card, it could be saying that everything's going to come to you, but the darkest fears are standing in your way. It could be saying to you that, you need to face those fears in order for that well-deserved reward to come to you. So, with this card, we're dealing with, like, the indigo or the blue. And so, Darkest Fears, the guy's wearing, like, a purple jacket, like a fur coat. and he's got all these little, like almost like an eclipse of planets, or like several different suns that are being eclipsed around his mind. So it's basically saying that those fears are and that's also a 9, so that's double 9s. It's basically saying that those fears are also being moved out, because 9 can represent endings also in tarot, or completion. So it could be basically saying, that your basically your rewards will be, will come to you whenever you complete this cycle of the fears that you're dealing with, or you face your fears. Let's see. So just know that a lot of times, Aries, you'll stand in your own way like that. So, also you want to look up 9 in numerology just to see if it means anything else to you. Then we have strengthening bonds. So of course, it seems like it deals with a relationship. I'm still getting more of a work relationship. It could be, you and your partner working together. But strengthening bonds, basically, it depicts a woman basically surrounded by like a golden halo, or like a, basically she's walking into the light, and it's just, the scenery represents like, just a beautiful picture of nature. So it's got, it's got a lot of whites, which basically white would represent spiritual blessings. Got an orange dress on, which basically would represent the sacral chakra, which is basically creativity. So it's basically saying, that you, through your creative ways, or being able to, expel these darkest fears that you're going through, that you are, walking basically away from those fears and walking more into the light. So strengthening bonds, and also represent, it's red borders, that represents physicality as well. So this is 4, which represents, 4 represents home and family and stability. Opportunity beckons. So it's basically the card of green. So it's basically saying like your heart desires it. Green represents the heart, and also love as well. But it's basically saying that you're, these opportunities that are going to be knocking, or they're beckoning, or they're coming to you, and it's basically has to do with your heart's desires. So it depicts a man basically standing out, like, staring out over the, horizon, or like, the night sky, and it's like a planet, or like a, a spherical ball behind him. And basically it's just showing him that the world's behind him, or he's got, the world, it could be even symbolized as the world being in your back pocket, but it also has an infinity symbol, which represents infinite. So, it could be just saying that, you're the center of the universe, and you can make anything happen, or you already have, rather. So then, this is more of a major arcana card with the black card in this deck. So basically, it's 14, so you add 1 and 4 together, which is 5. So you look up the 5. So 5 also deals with creativity in numerology, and also in astrology. So it's basically saying balance. So it's basically saying you need to balance the masculine and feminine aspect of yourself. It also has like pink, which also represents the heart. These cards you can change. These are things that you basically have control of as far as your destiny when it comes to, like, in your world. Major arcana is something that basically the universe is in control. So it's more like, if you were going to attribute that to, like, how certain things you can do, like you can move your hands or your fingers or whatever. This is basically more of an involuntary action. This is basically based on, it could be karma from the past, but it's basically saying that, this right here is just something that's happening. Now, it depicts 2 people coming together, but you can look at that as male and female. And also with the 4 plus 1 equals 5, this represents balance. So 5, and then you have balance. It can also equal the justice card of regular tarot. So it could just be saying justice is coming to you, as long as you, get away from these fears, and all this wonderful stuff is going to be happening for you. And if I was going to read it again, just like if it was telling a story, I would say that this is the basic 9 of Cups card. So it's basically everything is coming to you, or will come to you, or has come to you. But maybe some of you Aries might have actually let your fears get in the way. So then you're moving past them, or maybe your fears brought you closer with someone. You could even say that maybe your darkest fears brought you closer, closer with a soulmate. But regardless, the story after the darkest fears is basically strengthening bonds. So it's made you strengthen bonds. It could have been that you shared the same fears with a lover or a friend, and that you found this out, or you've communicated your fears with someone, and it has strengthened your bonds, or strengthened your relationship because of that. And then again with this opportunity beckons, it's basically saying that this has opened up a world of opportunities in your life, and how you're going to stay on top of this is basically by achieving balance, or it has created balance in your life. So let me get you one from the Romance Angels card just to see what's going on with that. So what does Aries need to know in regards to actual romantic love? What are the messages from the Romance Angels deck for Aries, March 2022? What are the messages from the Romance Angels for Aries, March 2022? What are the messages from Romance Angels for Aries, March 2022? What are the love messages for Aries, March 2022? Okay. So reconciliation. So that could have been basically that could have been showing you where it says strengthening bonds. I'm going to go ahead and put this over here too, that way y'all can see more. Understand, if you can't see the cards, this is just basically, I'm trying different methods out to see which works, but if you can't see them, make sure, just let you know I am telling you correctly. So reconciliation. So this could be somebody back from the past, or it could have been, this could relate directly to the strengthening of bonds. So, you could have found all this out, and then you're starting to see, you're starting to see what you have in common with this person, or you could, understood that this person was kept away from you because of their darkest fears. And so now a reconciliation is taking place, and then that could attribute to the balance card, which shows male and female coming together. Now it could also be a reconciliation with yourself, with your higher self. It just depends how you look at it. Let me pull a couple more for that. What does Aries need to know about love for March 2022? What are the messages for Aries for March 2022? Flirt. So that's just saying, give your relationship a chance. So extend your lighthearted energy for others, to others, basically. So it's just saying, if you want romantic love, if this is not your story as far as what's going on here, it's somebody's story, believe that. It's just saying you need to get out there and flirt more, or just, express your feelings. What else does Aries need to know for love? March 2022. Express your love again. So it's basically, again, telling the story. And this card is basically go ahead and make the romantic gesture. So flirt, and then make the romantic gesture. And, a flirtation or flirting with someone could be making a romantic gesture. It just depends how you look at it. But this basically shows two people together kind of holding, and, the female in this card is basically expressing love. So this might be more for female energies or female Aries. But it could also be... like, saying Aries, like the male version, like male as far as the physical body. It could be the feminine side. Is that, usually feminine represents someone that is basically receptive. So they wait for them people to to come to them. But in this card, it's basically telling you to make your move. And then you like somebody, whatever's going on, it'll get you there. Just kind of, but you gotta, you don't need to suffer in silence. You need to actually make that move and make it happen. Alright, I'm going to pull from the Amara's Love Oracle. Alright, so what does Aries need to know for March 2022 in love? What does Aries need to know for love, March 2022? What does Aries need to know for love, March 2022? Young male, so... Aries, y'all kind of come off as young anyway. You're represented as a fool in traditional tarot. So the young male could be you. Aries is more of a masculine energy. So that could just be, depicting on how you approach love or how you approach life. A lot of times you would see that, though. I mean, it makes sense if you've got, young male kind of extending his energy, flirting. Most Aries, though, are not receptive. So it would have to be overly feminine Aries for that to happen. They usually kind of are go-getters, depending on your chart and which signs are more dominant. Because like I said, you have you have the moon and the rising too, so it can be that as well. But young male, basically just telling you, it's, to me, I feel very strongly that's just a representation of yourself. Now, it could be somebody that you're eyeing to. It could be an older female Aries, but and they got their eye on a younger male. Just take whatever resonates. Just don't let it get you in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so that's all I'm going to pull from that deck, but I'm going to read that young male to you so you got an idea. Alright, youthful male, immature male, sports cars, driving, sporting activities, dynamic energy, university studies, under 25 years old. So I'm getting a picture. I'm getting definitely several Aries that are blonde hair, you know. That are blonde hair and they're kind of got their eye on somebody that fits that description. But also, I'm also getting female Aries that represents them when they were when they were younger. It also represents them now. Like I can see, I'm seeing like a few Aries in like, you know, Mustangs, red. I'm also seeing blue, like a blue sports car. That's all I'm getting right now, but whatever resonates. So I'm gonna give you more clarity on this well-deserved reward. $93. Alright, so your efforts are paying off when this card appears. It suggests that you have seen or will soon find your relationships falling into place. It hasn't always been easy, but you had the discipline to persevere. As you work to create fulfilling relationships, you sometimes had to give more than you would have liked, but you've seen the positive results of that action. You kept the ultimate goal in mind. And it basically represents discipline, graciousness, compassion, and satisfaction. Be proud of yourself. Like I was telling you, that the card represents someone, you know, like they're being proud, or they are proud. Be proud of yourself. You've shown that you're self-reliant and confident. You're entering a phase of your life where your dealings with others will become effortless. Be considerate, compassionate in your interactions. This is a less need for confrontation now. Diplomacy is the better approach. As you move forward, expect to feel satisfaction with your accomplishments regarding love in its many aspects. You're being blessed by your hard work. So a lot of times when it comes to, you know, Aries, basically you're ruled by Mars, so you can have a lot of confrontation, depending if you've matured or not, a lot of confrontation, so be careful that that doesn't get you, you know, you're not messing with someone that's already got, you know, suitors or something like that. So I'm going to do past fears. If I can find it. Darkest fears, not past fears, my bad. Alright, so keywords: anxiety, doubt, resolve, release. So that's what I was telling you, you got to let that go. Having love in your critical life is crucial. When a relationship does go as planned, or when a desired relationship does not materialize, it's easy to lose yourself in worry and doubt. You may even question your own worthiness. It's easy to become obsessed with all of your darkest fears regarding love. Don't let your anxieties paralyze you into a total state of inaction. Dwelling on your worries only feeds them with energy, allowing them to consume you and overshadow everything else. Take a moment and determine what might be troubling your heart. The anxiety may be obvious or quite subtle. Once you identify it, decide it, and decide if it's something that you can resolve on your own or if you need assistance, and then take the appropriate action if you determine that it worry over which you have no control over. Ask Spirit to help you release it. So it's kind of like I said, you know, once you get rid of that and face that and let it go and release it, then all your, you know, everything that you're wanting out of, you know, involving love, whether it be job, family, whatever, is going to manifest for you. So let's see what number 1, strengthening bonds, means. And basically I've already told you, you know, like, you know, it's making, you can see it's telling a story. $77. Alright, keyword: stability, reliability, grounded, and health. The potential exists now to be greater, to bring a greater stability in your relationships. Be realistic about what you can expect from others and what you can offer in return. Be consistent and clear in your actions and demand the same. By taking down a down-to-earth approach, your expectations of other people are more likely to be met and relationships will be strengthened. Scattered emotional energy will not serve you. Be sure to ground yourself. Steady and calm energy will translate into secure and strong relationships. To ground yourself, take a walk in nature and connect with the energy of the trees and Mother Earth herself. Enjoy greater health by exercising and eating well. A healthy body will help you feel confident about yourself and your abilities. This self-assured energy will enable you to improve current relationships and attract new ones as well. Also, when it comes to grounding, yeah, you know, walking in nature, basic grounding to, you know, I did a video on that on my channel. what grounding really means. A lot of people think you can ground with just stones and crystals, and yeah, if it's big enough or if you're sitting on it. But when someone says, here, this is a grounding crystal and it's a black crystal, it's more about protection. Grounding is about putting your energy all through your body. It's about being present in the moment. When you're ungrounded, you'll be spacey, you'll be worried about what's going on tomorrow. You won't be present in the moment. So a good way to do that, of course, is meditation, as long as you're doing, a balanced, even meditation, like centering yourself, things like that. But also you can get grounding cords that will help you with that too. And there's little straps that you strap to your wrist. They're also called anti-static straps. But you can, plug that into the third hole of a wall socket, which is connected to a grounding cord, and it will ground you, and you will get that earth energy. But yes, nature is better. Just make sure that you're present in the moment. Because if you're, if all this is going on and this is coming after this anxiety and the strengthening bonds, if you're not grounded, then you'll be in your darker spheres, So opportunity beckons. And that's green, so heart. Emotions, so 103. And by doing this, the opportunity beckons. It's basically saying, by doing all that, just like I said before, a lot of eating healthy, getting rid of your fears, being proud of yourself, everything that you're wanting, all of your dreams and ambitions, and in regards to love or however you want to, however this reading resonates with you, will come to fruition. So basically, opportunity beckons represents boredom, disillusion, vigilance, and action. Often in affairs of the heart, you may become complacent, even bored with what you have. You forget to see the magic of your interactions with others and fail to invest time and effort to maintain the human loving link. If you've been looking for a relationship for some time with success, you may become delusioned or discouraged, no longer believing that the relationship will manifest. Your enthusiasm diminishes, and you no longer provide the universe with the energy needed to produce the relationship. The same is true of struggling too long to improve an existing relationship. Now is not the time for complacency. This is your opportunity to attain what you've been seeking or to improve what you have. It requires vigilance, actions, enthusiasm, lift your spirits, and look for the opportunity that will present itself, then act. And again, it's basically telling you, to act on these opportunities when they come to you. I was telling you before, it was about action and moving, basically don't be so much as receptive. Don't be in a receptive, like if you're on the cusp of Pisces and you're like, and you're right in the beginning of Aries, you might find yourself being a more receptive Aries. And so, because you're right beside the Pisces in the zodiac, so you might find yourself being that more receptive and not actually wanting to take action. Most Aries that I know are forward, and some of them too forward, to the point of they like to manhandle you, So, I've met some women that'll scare you sometimes. But, no disrespect to them. It's just not everybody likes it. I'm more, I'm especially psychic individuals or receptive individuals. I always like the woman to take action. But sometimes it's a little aggressive and shit. I'm not trying to go to war, I'm trying to, start out slow and steady. So there you go. All right, so got the opportunity back in. So let me read this Romance Angels card. Express your love. Express your love, Aries. You gotta tell people how you feel. Just don't beat them up in the process. And if they turn you down, don't beat them up. Y'all are warriors. I always, I knew somebody that had an Aries rising, basically cusp of Pisces, and they always looked, to me they remind me of Amazonian women, like if the Amazon, like Wonder Woman. But there was a show called Supernatural, and they show when it comes to representing the Amazonian women, that the whole deal was to actually find a mate, get pregnant, and then actually have the daughter, which actually grows up really, really fast, to actually, kill or maim the male, kind of taking out the competition. And so that's wild how that resonates, because I've met, again, female Aries that are like that seem like that they're independent and they only want men for a certain reason, almost for procreation or whatever. Not that you're all like that. I'm just saying sometimes it's like it, but Uh, but what resonates with that story with me and the show was that they were basically flat-footed. They were strong, very athletic. Most Aries are. They have the body of a god, you know. The body of a god, kind of like Wonder Woman, things like that. So it was kind of interesting how all those lores and things like that, you know, legends actually have basically showed me in real life how that makes sense, you know. I've seen it where it looks like that and the way y'all act sometimes. Again, not judging you, that's just, you know, my experience. So express your love. 27. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. This card urges you to take the initiative in your love life. That may mean contacting someone to whom you're attracted and asking that person out on a date. It could also mean sending flowers, texts, or gifts to your beloved. As you express your romance, these feelings pour through you. You actually become the biggest beneficiary of your romantic displays, as you enjoy how they make you feel to an even greater degree. The more you give love, the more you experience it. Of course, do make sure that you are also open to receiving the love that comes to you from God, the angels, and other people. So just be open to love, and regardless, you know, and also give love if you want love. You can't just sit on the fence and wait for it to come to you. All right, so reconciliation. So someone from your past is returning to your life. Oh, be careful there, because you know a lot of times they're the past for a reason. This card indicates that an ex-lover may be re-entering your life. The first person you think of is likely who it will be, and that's true. It could, basically, anytime any answer you're trying to get, the first answer you get is usually the correct one. Overthinking it is what makes it, you know, confusing and complicated, and that goes with anything in life, any decision. The first person you think of is likely who it will be. The purpose of this reconciliation is to achieve healing and closure and respect to your past. You will understand more about yourself and see your relationship patterns more clearly. You also take responsibility for the role you played in a relationship's drama, which will free you from from the tyranny of unforgiveness. You got to forgive, you know, not for the other person, but for yourself, because if you hold them in blame, you basically give your power away. And that's just a personal message. Reconciliations are ultimately about taking care of unfinished business. This card could also possibly mean making peace with a family member or friend. Each relationship is a sacred learning experience, so be open to this reunion's lessons and blessings. Ultimately, all healings help your love life in every other part of your world, which is true. You heal one aspect of yourself, it's gonna be tenfold all across the boards. So flirt. Extend your lightheartedness energy to others. Romance angels guide you to initiate romance with flirtatiousness, which entails smiling with your eyes as you connect with others. It doesn't necessarily involve sexuality, although it can. Flirting, a playful nature, and playfulness is the heart of romance. If you're in a relationship, flirting with your partner can revive the passion. If you're single, this activity can attract new friendships as well as love relationships. Drawing the card can simply mean that making more eye contact with others will help you connect with people. This is especially true if you smile and say hello. More often, everyone you meet is a potential friend, and studies show that most people are introduced to their mates through mutual acquaintances. Therefore, form new friendships both as a way of meeting a new partner and to increase your enjoyment of life. Well, I'll tell you, you're lucky with that one, because most of the friends that I've had, you know, have not been actual friends, more backstabbers than anything. So, you know, they've introduced me to some rotten people, I'm telling you. But, you know, also I come out, you know, for me personally, just a personal story and experience, I've come out stronger because of that. So it's not always bad. You know, a lot of those friendships were karmic friendships, and, you know, yeah, I learned a lot, had a lot of fun. But, you know, when you start growing, people don't want to see that. They're not always going to support that. They liked you, you know, based on the vibration and frequency you was at that time. When you start to grow and change and do things differently, they don't necessarily like that. So that's a part of life that you got to learn. You know, people change. But yeah, it's, again, you know, this reading is mainly all about action. I've got one more card to read for you. And basically the balance card, I didn't need to read that because that's the justice card in Rebel Tarot, and that's just saying balance balance, center yourself, and also come into balance with your relationships. If you come into balance with your inner self, everything will have a ripple effect in the outside world. So if you're balanced, everything else will be too. And that's the problem a lot of times with, you can come into balance with yourself and you can see it mirrored in the external world, but a lot of people that you once were in contact with or you were cool with or whatever haven't achieved that balance, so it's not going to work. It'll make them feel a certain type of way. Sometimes they, think you're better or something, but it's not about that. It's just you change, and you grow, and it's just what it is. Change is the only constant, So, young male, let me cover that for you real quick. Alright, so I think I already did. Yeah, I already said it. Basically, youthful male, immature male, sports cars, driving, sporting activities, dynamic energy, university studies, under 25 years old. So I feel like a lot of the Aries in this reading are dealing with people around that age, or that is your age group. But also, there's some older ones got their eye on some younger ones. It could be like, people that's in college. It could be a teacher and whatever. But I'm also seeing, I'm getting a vision of like someone's mom. Liking someone's friend, something like that. So be careful, You don't want to end up on some internet site, you know what I mean? But that's what that's basically what I have for you, Aries. And like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Comment on the reading. Let me know what resonated. Let me know if you like the setup. I'm about to do away with this black right here because it just shows everything. So I want to get something more colorful and live up the reading a little bit. I've already placed crystals and stuff like that underneath my thing to increase the energy. I've got the candle to basically represent the element of fire, and spirit. So let me know what you think of these love readings. If it resonated, a lot of readings on YouTube are basically based on the same thing. It's all the same thing. I don't read like it. I try to read for the present moment, what's going on, the energy that I'm picking up for that sign. It's always about reconciling, even though reconciliation showed up in this reading, which is very common in tarot and oracle cards, you'll get a lot of that. People coming back from the past, especially during the retrograde cycles. But it just seems like it's always the same thing, and that's because it's what people want to hear. They don't want to let go. They want to know if this person's still thinking about them or whatever. And a lot of times you don't realize is that when you're trying to let go of someone or something from the past, as long as you're watching readings about it, you are basically telling the universe something completely different. So if you're saying, if you're like, well, you just wonder if they're still thinking about you, well, then you're not ready to let them go yet because you're still thinking about them, and then you're still tapping into that energy. There was a reader that I was watching on YouTube recently that said, you need to let them go, or else it'll keep you in prison and keep you from moving on. So just take that how it resonates. But yeah, again, just like, share, and subscribe. Show me some love so other people can see it. If it doesn't resonate for you, it might resonate for somebody else. So, but I do want to hear what you got to say about it. I want to know if I'm hitting home, things like that. But I appreciate you tuning into my channel, staying with me this long. For the ones that have made it, and you have a lovely rest of your March. Thank you, Aries, for watching.